Auckland, New Zealand. The city of sails becomes the city of SailGP. This sport is in their DNA.
What a start as New Zealand claims the first event of the 2025 season.
It goes deeper than winning or losing. It's part of their heritage, etched into their history, carried on the wind and coursing through their veins. This is where innovation meets tradition, where courage meets the relentless power of the elements. Today, F50s clash on the waters that have tested champions for generations. Feel the tension, the energy and the rivalries. It's not just a race, this is SailGP.
Waves crash underneath, sound like thunder speaking. Flying carbon machines, driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, raw passion, all action. When it takes, racing on water, racing with impact. Give it all, everything, give it all, everything. We are racing. When it takes, we are SailGP.
The second event of SailGP's fifth season brings the world's best sailors to the Southern Hemisphere and the Kiwis' largest city. For the first time, the league will race in one of the most spectacular port cities anywhere in the world. This is the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. Known as the City of Sails, Auckland will play host this weekend as the Rolex SailGP Championship brings 11 national teams to this stunning port city. After a 6-week break since the last event, the teams are ready to test out the latest in sailing technology with the launch of the highly anticipated new T-foils. The added improvements will make for more responsive boats in a wide variety of conditions. Massive crowds are expected on a picture-perfect day for racing in this iconic sailing city. Alongside former world champion Emily Nagle and Olympian Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. Well, Season 5 got off to an amazing start in Dubai in November, with Sydney coming next in February. The 13-event season takes in some traditional stops like Cadiz, Spain, San Francisco, California, and New York City, while also making first-time visits to Rio, Brazil, Geneva, Switzerland, and Sassnitz, Germany. The SailGP calendar will test these national teams on 5 separate continents before a season champion is crowned 11 months from now in Abu Dhabi.
SailGP is our close-to-shore, nation versus nation, high-speed, high-tech racing series that is truly like no other. The league started in 2018 to redefine the future of sailing. Our competition takes us to epic locations for our biggest series yet. The Rolex SailGP Championship is decided at the end of the season following a year-long competition where the best of the best rack up points competing for a $12.8 million prize pool, with a grand final winner taking $2 million. This showdown is where the top 3 teams go head-to-head to carve their name in the SailGP Championship trophy. SailGP races take place on a standardised course designed for both speed and spectator engagement. The course features a series of marks that teams must navigate around, including the start line, gates and finish line. The course consists of several legs, including upwind and downwind sections, where teams must execute tacks and jibes and manoeuvre around marks placed at each end of the course. This requires teams to make strategic decisions about which side of the gate to pass through, adding a tactical element to the race. The spectacular part of what makes SailGP unique is that all of the teams compete in identical F50s. The F50 is a catamaran that revolutionised the sport with its foiling design, lifting the boats out of the water, minimising drag and approaching speeds of 100 kilometres an hour. These high-tech catamarans can go over 3 times the speed of the wind, with the athletes on board experiencing up to 3 Gs of force. Similar to an aeroplane on a runway, when the F50 reaches the right speed, its hydrofoils lift the boat out of the water. But these spectacular athletes are on the limit. Fly too high and you'll lose control. The crashes can be spectacular.
Oh, it's going to be a crash! Here goes Australia!
It will be thrilling to see how the new teams measure up against the established powerhouses of SailGP. The Rolex SailGP Championship is just one event into the season. What did we learn from the first event in Dubai? With the transfer season running wild, the new teams got hold of big talent, and it's fair to say that Mubadala Brazil and Red Bull Italy were mixing it up from the get-go.
Great start by the Brazilians.
The United States pre-season training paid dividends, and with Hans Henken back as flight controller, they were calm and collected.
Taylor Canfield, nothing more spectacular than winning the first race of the season.
They made the event final and started the year ahead of the season teams.
You know, when it comes to race time and that start gun goes off, it's elbows out. You know, we're here to win.
The reigning Spanish champions Diego and Florian came into Dubai on a high after claiming Olympic gold together.
What a first leg by Bottini. He absolutely nailed that.
Just one foiling error in the final fleet race ended their chances of making the event final.
We finished fourth because we deserved it, and we made our mistakes. We are trying to clean up this for this event and see if we can perform a bit better.
Australia were right in the mix in Dubai, changing up their start strategies and on the pace.
He's thread the needle, unbelievable there.
But fifth in the standings won't satisfy Slingsby. Will the potentially stronger winds in the Southern Hemisphere play into the hands of the experienced teams?
It'll be interesting to see who adapts to these new foils the quickest. And yeah, we've got a few things that we're working on that we're trying to keep hidden.
For new signing Giles Scott on board Canada, a mid-table finish doesn't give him anything to smile about by his standard.
But North Star Canada very much in this race.
But with his team now under new ownership, they have a long-term vision.
We're looking to build this team and move it right up there to the top of the tables.
Emirates GBR CEO Ben Ainsley recruited Season 1 driver 49er Olympic gold medalist Dylan Fletcher. Fletcher's muscle memory saw him gel quickly to the F50 and returned in fighting form and secured second place overall.
It was a great result for the team, and we're really looking to build on that for the whole rest of the season.
For New Zealand's black foils, the numbers do the talking. They were the fastest team on the water.
Perfect from Burling at the bottom of the line. What a start from the black foils.
New flight controller Leo Takahashi was quick to find his groove. A solid start in this established team.
Yeah, we're just super excited to get out there and I suppose show the fans what this league's all about and a pretty special part of the world.
Well, make no mistake about it, SailGP Season 5 has 12 national teams, but technical issues on the main wing for Team France will keep them off the start line this weekend as repairs continue in hopes of having them and their boat ready for the next event. Here's Stevie Morrison on how the weekend schedule plays out.
Well, we have 4 races for the 11 teams today, and then tomorrow we're back for 2 more qualifying races. 10 points are up for grabs for the race winner, all the way down to 1 for 10th. It's 0 for last. Points are accumulated in the qualifying series, and the top 3 teams will head to a winner-takes-all event final. Let's go see the course with Emily.
The City of Sails provides the ultimate racetrack this weekend. At the gun, the 11 teams will blast along to Mark 1 and down to the first gate. With the new T-foils, the speeds will be higher than ever, but manoeuvres will be tricky and taxing on all the crews. The pressure is on the flight controllers to keep things steady and minimise touchdowns. Strategists will have to decide between hitting the shore or staying in the deeper water of the channel to take advantage of the current. But the moment everyone is waiting for is the sprint finish straight towards the superfans in the grandstand.
All right, thank you very much, Emily. And there are the 11 teams that will be participating today in Auckland. Remember, France unable to go. We hope to have them back in Sydney. Right now, we check in with a 4th member of our broadcast team down in the water, Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Things are looking great down here, Todd. The forecast is around 17 kilometres per hour, gusting to about 22 kilometres per hour from the Norries. But I am expecting that to build throughout the afternoon. I know we all want to see. The F50 is equipped with their 24-metre all-purpose wing, and as we heard, those new T-foils will be on the boat today. It's a little bit calmer out here that we've seen in practice, so the teams are looking pretty locked in with these new foils, but lots of gusts and lulls out here to navigate. The water is fairly flat, but is a little bit choppier towards that big grandstand we see on the shore. So it's going to be fantastic racing today out here. A little bit tricky, but a lot of fun.
All right, Lisa, much more from you as the day progresses on, as we are under 90 seconds to go until the first race of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland and the Rolex Sail Grand Prix Championships. As all the teams now get themselves into position, this will be interesting, Stevie, because over the course of the last 2 days in practice, we split the fleet up in groups of 6 and 5. Now it's all 11, and that is a very tight course.
Well, yeah, and what catches my eye is how short that first downwind leg is. It's going to be compressed at the bottom.
So 1 minute to go until we take off here, racing for the first time in beautiful Auckland.
Well, the first thing, again, we look at the start line, that red line on the middle of our screen there, the blue pole position spot there. That suggests the optimum place to start to get yourself to Mark 1 the first. And we can see that's going to be all the boats battling for that end. Can you find some space? New Zealand, top of screen. They look really late here on board the Kiwi boat. They're well out of position right now. Denmark, upwind end of the line. They look like they might find some space. It's the United States manoeuvring at the back of the line.
And here we go, 20 seconds before the start of race number 1 in New Zealand.
Germany perfectly positioned right now, and at the moment the pole predictor sits with Canada, but I don't see any space for them. New Zealand will miss this start and be a little late. They're going to have to come from behind. Watching now as Switzerland and Great Britain out the middle of the line, but Germany's still well positioned. Watch for the line to turn white. We're racing now.
Italy.
Oh, penalty Italy, that's an incident from
Australia.
The Australians early on, but it's Spain, Great Britain and Switzerland in a drag race towards Mark 1, and the Spanish hold the inside. They should lead from here at Mark 1.
As they approach mark number 1 in the first race of the day, it is the defending champions from last season, Spain, out in front. They'll grab the whole shot, the first one here in Auckland.
Lovely job on that first length. The Rolex sprint leader there, Spain, and that's a big lead to take out of Mark 1. Great Britain first to manoeuvre. How well do the teams handle these new foils?
Diego Botín, they have a nice lead. There you see Dylan Fletcher, Emirates GBR, currently sitting in second place. Stevie, the penalty still on the mass of Red Bull Italy.
Yeah, it's an incident between Italy and Australia, and you can see the Australians are still well behind Italy. Italy have got to get behind Australia, and they've got to do it quick, otherwise that penalty will keep growing. Left-hand side of screen, United States and New Zealand, they're in the race, but they're a long way back as we see Spain. Look at that, they're just stretching away here.
So it's Spain and Emirates GBR out in front. Look at the speeds approaching 65 kilometers an hour, and then it's everyone else. So the battle is on between the Brits and the Spaniards.
Oh, it looks like a football stadium there, that grandstand in the background. Huge crowd in there, and it's Great Britain that have judged this downwind leg the best. They've managed to cut the corner on the Spanish, and they lead at gate 2.
At the DP World Gate, gate number 2 here on the first race of the day. Yesterday, Stevie, everyone was going to the other side. How much of a change do you think it is what we saw in the conditions yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think that's Ian Murray race geometry. It's interesting how he's laid it. He's taken the boats right into the grandstand there. And we see Spain have manoeuvred away early. Nice gust of wind that Great Britain and Spain are in, and these two boats have a big, big lead. I think what's evident out there on the racecourse already, it's very gusty. You can see those dark patches of water somewhere near Switzerland and Australia right now, but if you end up in a light pit, as the fleet did, you lose a lot of distance very quickly.
Remember, it's all about getting points over the course of the fleet races before the big final on Sunday. 10 points for the winner, none for last place, 1 point for 10th, and right now it is Emirates GBR out in front, Spain in second, the Germans out into third place, with Italy now absolving that penalty. They sit in fourth and the Australians in fifth.
Yeah, they managed to do a good job of taking that penalty. I like where Spain are heading. They're definitely sailing back towards some good wind. You can see the wind's rotated towards that Auckland shoreline there. Spain are going to start to accelerate, potentially putting a challenge in on the Brits. Big breeze in that top corner where Spain are heading to. Good news for Spanish fans, but the Kiwis, right-hand side of our screen, they're still way at the back of the pack. A lot of work to do for the hometown favourites.
The winners of the first event in November down in Dubai, New Zealand sits in 10th place. They just moved ahead of the Americans. Now they sit in 9th behind Switzerland. Australia has moved up a place or two. They're still behind Denmark, but it's still Emirates GBR and Spain, the class of the fleet right now, going 1 and 2.
There we go, Dylan Fletcher and Ian Jensen on board the British boat, working hard to put the clamps on the Spanish boat. Sailed the boat close to the wind. They're putting disturbed air onto the Spanish now, so slightly slowing the Spanish, but both these boats, well, it's a battle royale between these two. Expect a split at the top here. Could well see a right turn for the Spanish to try and find wind away from Great Britain. There go the Spanish.
So that could be the move of the match at gate number 3. They'll make their way back down. Wind conditions have stayed relatively same, but look at the speed difference between Spain and Emirates GBR.
Yeah, really hard to do that extra manoeuvre at the top there, especially I think with these new foils and these gusty conditions, the teams aren't as slick as possible. One thing to hold on to today, I think, Todd, it's really, really hard to do the basics well. So you've got to prioritise doing the manoeuvres well in good wind. Maybe Spain rushed that a little bit there.
And this one gets a little tricky as well. You've got Emirates GBR and Spain making their way down the course, the rest of the fleet coming up the course, so you got to deal with priority and oncoming boats.
Yeah, first world problem for those leaders, really, though. Let's take that in this huge lead that they've got themselves there. Italy in third, what a good performance. They've had a last-minute substitution, and it's the New Zealand team. Well, they're struggling at the moment, but they are, as always, moving through the fleet, and there's still another few legs to do. We're only at the halfway stage of this race. Opportunity still for Burling & Co. to find a magic path through the fleet.
Red Bull Italy, Ruggero Tita, the driver, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 4-time NACRA world champion. There is definitely skill and talent on board that boat. We just haven't seen it in practice or at the first event, but here they are sitting in a top 4 position. The Germans, presented by Deutsche Bank, now sitting in third.
Well, the Italians as well, Spain, they're picking up an unforced error, really. They pushed a bit wide on the course, trying to maximise that. But yeah, the Italians, they had a last-minute substitution, actually, Todd, with Andrea Tessi, the flight controller. I don't know if he got injured or something happened, but Jason Saunders from the French team, French obviously, unfortunately, not racing here this weekend. Jason stepped in, quite experienced as a flight controller, and maybe there's a safe set of hands there, that little bit more experience. So yeah, good performance so far from the Italians. Germany up to third, and New Zealand slowly working their way through the fleet.
Leg 5 of 7 in the first race of the day here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. As Lisa Darmanin mentioned before we went racing, Stevie, the conditions are near ideal. Sold out, no tickets available. The grandstands are full and the sun is out. This is a picture-perfect day, and what a way to come to the City of Sails.
Good angle there. Pretty soft down here.
Yeah, I mean, you should be enjoying this if you're on board that Emirates Great Britain boat. Out in front, they're able to take the first choice. Spain, you could see Spain try and force something a lap ago. They went the wrong way. They suddenly lost 200-300 metres. Oh, tight moment between Germany and Spain. All fair, all clear, it looked like there, and Germany could well be up to third here. Got a chance to dive inside the Italians. Italy will be quick on the exit from the mark.
Coming up. On the outside.
So the Germans have priority once they're in that circle first, and now once they get on the overlap, Germany will have to give the Italians space.
And they've done that, they've manoeuvred away. Look at the fans on the shoreline there. They'll be loving what they're seeing with that little manoeuvre. Rockwell, Denmark, North Star, Canada, they come charging in. This left turn is quite favoured. It means it's really forcing the teams to go that way. Ian Murray's enticing the crews in towards the crowd on the shoreline.
Look at that view, stadium seating there. We've got little mini duels taking place all over. You saw the Italians and the Germans getting together, and now you see North Star Canada and Rockwell, Denmark in close quarters. And here come the Kiwis. That'll get the fans out of their seat.
Oh, and look at that Denmark. Remember, Denmark are sitting in 5th right now. So if New Zealand could somehow get back to 5th position from here, what a performance that would be. And there is chance. Look at this. Great Britain, well, they're well out in front. Just one downwind leg to go. This should be a cakewalk for the British team. Spain in second, but back in the pack, it's all to play for. I'd say third all the way back to 7th is wide open.
Emirates GBR and their new driver, Dylan Fletcher. Remember, they have made a change on that team. They went from Giles Scott and, of course, some legends on that boat prior to that. But the Olympic gold medalist Dylan Fletcher has really shown his mettle in the last 2 stops, not only here, but in Dubai.
Yeah, and Dylan really likes these shifty conditions. Same with Ian Jensen. You know, they're both very good windy, shifty weather conditions. They got Hannah Mills, of course, they're doing the strategy. She'll love being able to have her head out of the boat and find the breeze that's on this course. And as soon as it is as gusty and shifty as that, there's just huge opportunity out there, really. You can see right now Italy in 3rd place, sailing well. Clearly, Ruggero Tita enjoying these conditions.
Emirates GBR and Spain 1 and 2, they're making their way down the course, and then the rest of the fleet. Stevie, can't say enough, though, about Dylan Fletcher stepping into this situation, did such a good job coming in, and you fill in for a guy like Ben Ainsley, and that is not something that's easy to do.
No, he's come in, Ben Ainsley, then Giles Scott in that situation, but Dylan's a, Olympic gold medalist in his own right. He was in season 1 in the F50, so he's not a sort of a total newcomer to it. He's got that experience, as we can see there. He swaps sides, Hannah Mills on the wheel after the manoeuvre, and he sets up. He's, very experienced on it, and he'll just be loving these gusty, shifty conditions. It's just like the Northampton Lake where he grew up sailing.
Of course, the Brits finishing in second in the first event, which was the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix in November, and here they come in race number 1. The winning Emirates moment goes the way of Emirates GBR. Dylan Fletcher and company take the win in Auckland.
There we go. Imagine if the Kiwis win, there'll be a little bit more excitement in that crowd than there was for that one there. But yeah, of course, we know it's about winning the last race, not the first race, but what a great start.
So now the battle is on.
Umpires, penalty Denmark, relative Australia, port tack boat not keeping clear.
Oh, Denmark, that's going to be costly for them. That shows potentially their little place change for New Zealand. New Zealand moving up past Canada. They put a manoeuvre in. Italy a third. Germany for... Oh, Canada spin the boat. They've got to keep clear of Germany there. Oh, that was a tight manoeuvre by the Canadians. Was it too close? Wow, that was tight.
And while that's taking place, you've got Diego Botín, the winners of last year's overall series. They will claim a second place, so 9 points go the way of the Spanish. Remember, it's all about being a top 3 boat after all the fleet races to get you in to the final on Sunday.
Yeah, those 2 boats just had a great chance to get away. Diego will be happy with that. I mean, he won't like the fact that Dylan, they've been long-time rivals in the 49er class. He won't like the fact that he got away. But as we see now, as we head downwind, right now it's New Zealand that have found good wind. Germany and Canada have fallen off the foils, so showing us 4th, it would be New Zealand. They didn't even make it to the start on turn. Incredible from Burling. How does he find this many overtakes? Now he's hunting down the Italians. Can Ruggiero Tito keep him behind? They've got a good position at the moment. Carl Langford, their experienced wing trimmer on that boat. Well, he was worried about sailing the boat just a few days ago. He's going to love where he's coming right now.
Just 2 legs ago, the Black Foils of New Zealand were sitting in 9th place, Stevie. Now they're sitting in 4th with a possibility of picking up yet another spot if they can reel in Red Bull Italy with less than 190 meters separating them.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty daunting for the rest of the fleet, isn't it? I mean, the Kiwis, we said it's hard to do the basics well, and I mean, turning up and being at the start line on time, I'd put in the category of basics. They didn't do that, but now they're coming back through the fleet at a rate of knots here. Really going well. Up to 4th, Australia 5th. And it's been a disastrous last downwind for Canada. We saw that rush manoeuvre. They were in 4th for that, put Italy off the foils, but they should be round this final mark.
So the Italians on the last leg heading home, they will take 3rd. And now you've got 3 boats converging here on this last mark. It's going to be New Zealand, it looks like, that's going to hold off their rivals, the Aussies. So they will go 4 and 5. With New Zealand and Australia and the USA trying to figure out how to get around this with 1 extra maneuver.
Yeah, well, the USA have done well here. They were right at the back as well. And there's a famous saying in England, it's not all over till the fat lady sings. And I think that could be the name of the game here, because there's opportunities all the way around the racetrack. As we see the United States just hold on the inside. Rockwool Denmark, they're going around the outside. Can Sehested accelerate that Danish boat and come back at the Americans before the finish? Here comes Canada on the foil still. They look to head over the top. It's really tight as we come in here. What can Taylor Canfield do? He's going to have the right of way. Canada must keep clear. Canada must keep clear.
Taylor Canfield turns in and forces Giles Scott to take evasive measures, but that opens the door for Rockwool Denmark and possibly Germany.
It's all tight on the line. Rockwool Denmark, can Germany find a way through?
Umpires, penalty Canada, relative USA, not giving room at the mark.
Canadians didn't turn out enough, and a penalty on the USA. Oh, it's going to be interesting when this one comes out in the wash. Do Germany get past the United States? I'm not sure if they quite did on the finish. We'll find that out when we get into the details. Oh, Canada was so close to that good result, and then coming in at the back of the pack here, Brazil and Switzerland. Well, they're going to be disappointed with their start to things here. Mubadala Brazil, brilliant in practice yesterday, but struggled in this first race.
Well, what a race. It is now complete, and provisional results, it's Great Britain that gets the win with Spain and Italy, the top 3. Emily Nagel, plenty to digest from the start.
And it was GBR that were in control from the very beginning. We can see here they're killing some time, sailing down towards the line, which opened that gap there for the Spanish to have a good start as well. But it was Spain, GBR and Switzerland that all hit the line at 55 kilometers an hour and gave them a beautiful lead into Mark 1 there. Spain and GBR led that battle downwind. And because of how light it was at the top gate, it actually made it really tricky for the rest of the teams in the pack. Here, that first maneuver away, a bunch of them just fall off of the foils, and that was a golden moment for GBR and Spain, who were just able to continue to extend their lead. That split at the top mark, super costly for the Spanish team, who ended up having to go outside of the boundary. Small error, but they still got that second place finish, which is going to be brilliant for the leaderboard.
Emily, I know you like the numbers. How about this number? 96% for Spain in Emirates flight time.
Brilliant for them. A lot worse for some of the others.
Still to come, one more race when we come back to the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. So the fans continue to make their way into the stands after an exciting first race. They'll be looking for their home team to do much better, but a great save by Pete Burling and company as the Kiwis finish in top 5 in 4th place. Auckland is a gateway to all that New Zealand has to offer. It's packed full of adventure and scenery that will take your breath away. From the history, culture, food, wildlife, and endless beauty. Whatever the season, it's always a good time to visit New Zealand.
From the new Team Mubadala, Brazil, the two-time Olympic gold medalist, Martina Grael.
Does it feel nice to be a trailblazer?
For sure, I think I'm carrying a lot of people, and I think there will be a lot of people that will be looking at me in the future. But right now I'm just focusing on the sailing. It's all that matters right now.
We have 2 new teams in the fleet this season. One is led by the Italian superstar Ruggiero Tita, and the other is the Mubadala Brazil team, led by Martina Grael. Well, for me, today's practice day is really interesting because it's the first time we're going to see all of these boats together on a starting line.
We're at that point where if you push a female athlete in against the top male athletes and they don't succeed, it's going to set the women's movement back a long way. And if she doesn't compete well with the men and she can't hold that level, for me it puts that movement back. So it's a matter of timing, and it's a matter of having the right person with the right attitude at the right moment.
It really winds me up a bit, that, because that's what you see a lot of women have to face, is they can't just be the same, they have to be better to prove that they deserve to be there. And I think that's a really unfair pressure to put on Martine.
What is the biggest emotion that you're feeling a day out from the start of this 2025 season? Is it excitement? Is it nerves? What is that? Nervous, excitement, what have you got there?
Work in progress.
Work in progress, I love it. Martini, big round of applause.
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best, yes. Powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Auckland is the perfect place to start your adventure to all that New Zealand has to offer. Do it on water or on wheels. Take your time to soak in the landscape that you will never forget and dive headfirst into all that it has to offer. What a day here in Auckland as SailGP makes their first visit to the City of Sails. Well, the Rolex SailGP Championships roll on with our second race. We are scheduled for 4 today, and after an exciting first race, really looking forward to this second race, Stevie. I think everyone's kind of maybe getting more used to the congestion that we saw, because on practice days we split the fleet in 2 groups. Now it's all 11 going at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tight course, isn't it? But in these gusty, shifty conditions, that sort of does tend to stretch the fleet out a bit. It means that, you know, if you find the breeze, you can jump away. Obviously, if you find the holes in the breeze, then you get stuck back behind. So it's tight here. 37 seconds to go. The optimum place to start, again towards that downwind end of the start line. Look how congested it is. Switzerland, Great Britain, Germany, Denmark, Spain and Italy all fighting for that spot. Out the back, it's New Zealand at the moment, but Burling will be looking for a good gap here at the top of the line. Brazil, left-hand side of our screen. They've got some space. Can they manage to make things happen? Right now, the Rolex pole predictor sits on the Kiwi boat. They have found a gap through the middle. 10 seconds to go. It's all about the acceleration. Canfield on the United States looks well positioned, but he's going to have to go fast from that top end of the line. Watch for the line to turn white. We're racing here. What a start from Canfield. He's absolutely lit up coming into Mark 1 here. He's so fast on board that boat. They should be able to lead round Mark 1, and Fletcher on Emirates Great Britain, he's chasing him down again.
Breeze is quite right at the moment, 65.
So at mark number 1, it is US SailGP Lady Liberty leading the way on this second race here in Auckland.
Oh, they just did a great job of finding space there, Todd, and now they have got space. They're the Rolex Sprint leader at Mark 1, and they've got space to set themselves up for this first manoeuvre. It's got to have to be smooth.
The question is, can Taylor Canfield in the US do exactly what Emirates GBR in Spain did in the first race, Stevie? Get away from the fleet, check out, and get the win.
Just going to come out for bad air.
Well, I think it's got no excuse not to from that position. You know, they're well ahead here. They've got every advantage that they could hope to have. They've manoeuvred nicely, but Tom Slingsby's breathing down their neck.
Let's talk about tactics here. I want to go left straight in. That's short to boundary that way. Are you still okay with that?
Because Mike Buckley and Taylor Canfield don't seem to be naturally straight on the same pace there. I think that left turn's been working well at the bottom before, but as Taylor alludes to, you're going to get right in towards the crowds very quickly, so you've got to do a manoeuvre soon. I think they'll be happy with that, though.
And how about those crowds? Sell out today in Auckland, and it's not even Championship Sunday. That comes tomorrow. And right now, the Americans will make the turn at the DP World Gate at the bottom of the course. And Tom Slingsby, as you said, Stevie, hot on their heels. So it's USA, Australia, Emirates GBR, and Italy, your top 4.
Yeah, and Emirates Great Britain, they've manoeuvred away to the other side of the course. I think they're going to pay an extra penalty distance-wise early on, but they will have space as the leg goes on. Nice manoeuvre, look at that right-hand side of screen. That hull stayed out the water. Perfect foiling tack by the Australians there. They're up and running, and they'll be putting the pressure back on the United States team. But Canfield well positioned at the moment, and it's Italy in 4th again. Great first day of racing for Rudgy T. Turner's team.
And hit it, Jules.
Good pressure here, but light at the boundary.
Trying to keep fast-ish here.
And the running theme, Stevie, seems to find speed and keep it fast.
Yeah, I think on a day like this, you've got to work out what your priorities are in terms of your decision-making. I think for me, the decision-making would be, can I find the darker patches of water, the gusts of wind? If I stay in the gust of wind, I'm going to have a lot more boat speed. If you remember these foiling boats, Todd, if you can find maybe 1-2 kilometres an hour more wind speed, that's potentially 5-6 kilometres an hour more boat speed. So it's just such a priority to find that, and then once you've got the wind, then think about the angle you're sailing and minimise the distance.
And like race number 1, the Kiwis, the hometown team, find themselves in a bit of a hole. They were 9th in leg number 2 in race number 1. Here they are 9th on leg 3 of race number 1. They would finish the first race in 4th place, so a lot of work to do for Pete Burling, the winners of the first event in Dubai.
I think all the way and then a little H1 out.
Great shot here of those T-foils on the front of the boat there. These new T-foils, we got high speed, and what that means is you get that extra boat speed. We come and look into the Oracle Cloud there, bottom left-hand side, and that gives us an idea of what the wind speed's like. Well, Great Britain right now, look at that. They've got an awful lot more boat speed on the British boat at the moment. They're near the Auckland shoreline, going well, but it's still Australia and the United States battling for the lead. Advantage Slingsby at the moment. He's putting the pressure on Canfield and co.
And Taylor Canfield's had enough of that. He makes the turn early. So it's Australia who has inherited first place. US SailGP sits in second. Red Bull Italy in a top 3 position again, and then Emirates GBR. And then we get a first look at Rockwell, Denmark. They have now moved to the top 5.
Crucial for United States to get around this gate with no more manoeuvres. They have done it. Canfield's judged it well. They'll hold the lead. Should be able to stretch away. Does the Australian follow? Yes, he does. And it's Emirates Great Britain up to 3rd.
And that's saying something, Stevie, when you can yield a lead to Australia and someone like Tom Slingsby, a 3-time winner in the league, and then get it back, you're doing something right.
You're doing a pretty good job. It's what we call a paper lead, though. The Australians were in the lead on paper, but strategically, United States still had control of the situation right now. Now things have opened up. That's where we're going to see the tactics come into play. Great Britain move away early. Has he found more wind?
And maybe H1 here.
H1, that's not a good sound on the downwind leg. United States right-hand side of screen, they're off the foil. Oh, and there's a big gust of wind on board the US boat. Have a look at it. Oh, they plug it. That could be a huge problem. That boat's going to be full of water right now. They're going to struggle to re-accelerate. What a mistake there, falling off the foil through the jibe on the downwind leg. Disaster for US fans. What a mistake.
So thousands of pounds of water in those holes. You heard it, Stevie. Taylor Canfield calling H1. Dropping 1 hole in the water, and then it all went south.
Well, as soon as I heard H1, it's like, oh no, you can't do that on a downwind leg in this breeze. Here we see the manoeuvre. They get a little high. Oh, and then they fall off the foils. They just stall things, and there's a big gust coming to hit them right now, and that powers the boat up. Several extra 100 horsepower of energy going into the boat, and oh, they couldn't deal with that acceleration. Disaster here. What happens? Just do it in a bit of a light spot, and they try and fly the boat a bit high. It comes lifted up at the front, and then it's off the foil. No good there for the US team. What a disaster. Still, luckily, a lot of race left here for them to get through it, but they're going to be disappointed with that. As we can see at the bottom, Emirates Great Britain, I think they're chasing round behind the Australians, and Ruggiero Tito on the Italian boat. Where have they found this form from?
Fine. Up. You want an early tacker or no?
Diego Botín and the Spaniards making their way down the gate, the DP World Gate at the bottom of the course. 7 legs on this second race. We're scheduled for 4 races today.
Yeah, when you can see there, Denmark are taking a left turn, and they're definitely sailing towards good wind on that side of the course. You can see that dark patch there as we see United States. Well, they're right at the back of the pack now, as are New Zealand, the hometown team. They're really struggling out here today. It's not the normal slick performance that we're used to seeing from Pete Burling, Blair Tuke and the team. Really surprising to see. Right-hand side of ski in Rockwell, Denmark. Have they found something good? How's the manoeuvres on this Kiwi boat?
That's Rockwell there.
I think what's quite an interesting thing with these T-foils, see on that left-hand side, at the bottom of our screen there on that hull, that's the new T-foil. So it's a high-performance foil. It means the boats are faster, but the handling isn't quite as easy. And new flight controller Leo Takahashi got a lot to take on. And of course, it's got the potential to level the playing field a bit, these new foils. And maybe the Kiwis are struggling to adapt to this new foil format.
Angle there for a sec. Head up. Nice. Right, pace, pretty short on boundary.
Okay, well, they've split towards the other side of the course. They'll be trying to find that extra bit of breeze and rescue as many points as they can. A 10th at this stage of the regatta is not the end of things, but oh, it's a bit of a problem potentially. There's not that many races to work your way back into the event, and with teams like Australia, Great Britain and Italy stretching away and consistently doing that, could be a problem.
So you wonder how big of a loss that was for the Americans. They were in first place. They have dropped back to 9th place. The Australians now have taken over the lead. Emirates GBR, the winners of race number 1, they sit in 2nd, Red Bull Italy in 3rd, and Spain now up to 4th, 1 position ahead of 5th, and Rockwell, Denmark.
Todd, I think I said it in race 1, it's very hard to do the basics right on a day like today. And the manoeuvres, everyone in the crowd, everyone at home watching will think, oh, just doing a jibe, turning the boat downwind. That's one of the basics, that's a fundamental sailing skill. It's not that easy in these boats. And USA got caught out, changing the wind, miscommunication, whatever happened. And we're about to see the Australians set up for their manoeuvre. Can they get this one smooth? There we go, Chris Draper, he sets up, crosses the boat, foils down. Slingsby turns the boat.
Okay, we're
There you go, respect the basics. Beautiful manoeuvre by the Australians. Great Britain follows suit behind. They're trying to cut the corner. Another slick manoeuvre, but you've got to respect the basics.
So there is the finish line in the distance. They'll have that gate in the center of your screen, then they'll make the left-hand turn and head in front of the fans. And it looks like Australia's going to get it done, Stevie. Remember, they finished 5th in race number 1, so a first place here certainly helps their cause. And you said this to me earlier, there's nothing better than winning if you're Australian, but even better, winning on Kiwi waters.
Yeah, I'm sure Slingsby will like that. One turn here, just a few seconds until he crosses that finish line. And he'll like doing that in front of the home Kiwi fans.
And your Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Australians. Tom Slingsby and company get the win here at Auckland in race 2. Emirates GBR will finish in 2nd.
That Emirates winning moment's going to feel pretty good. They've looked fast in training, the Australians. They seem to have adapted pretty well to these new foils. But talking about adapting well to these new foils, Dylan Fletcher, Luke Parkinson, let's not forget about Luke flying the Emirates Great Britain boat. And of course, if you've got a tactician, strategist like Hannah Mills at the back of the boat, you've got a pretty solid setup there. Italians though, let's have a little word for Rigitito though. Struggled in Dubai, but 3rd place finish there. Ahead of season 4 champion Spain, but Spain consistently there. They're not going away, they're not making too many mistakes.
And then there's a big gap, so you've got Australia the winners, Great Britain in 2nd, Italy in 3rd, and Spain in 4th. And it looks like Rockwell Denmark's going to hold on for a 5th. One place better than they did in race number 1 when they finished in 6th.
Yeah, they've done a nice job there, and USA have chipped away. They're showing us 6th at the moment. We'll see where they get to on the finish. New Zealand's 8th, struggling here. New Zealand are going to start to need to win races after here. They've got to be in the first few from here. USA have done a nice job of pulling their way back through after that poor manoeuvre where they've had to do a bit of a reset. Done a nice job of that 6th. Canada 7th, and it's going to be New Zealand back in 8th. This is not what we're used to seeing from Burling and Took. What can they find to try and pull themselves back up in these next races today?
So Taylor Canfield and US SailGP do finish in 6th place. Stevie, it could have been a lot worse. They were in 1st. We saw the incident with a big dip. They dropped back to 9th. They salvaged 3 points, so they're now back into 6th. So they have a 7th and a 6th in 2 races so far.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed, but I think easy for the wheels to come off in a situation like that. So again, if you look at the positives, they've done a nice job of resetting.
On the job. Yeah, it's just like we're pitch, sometimes you end up in the worst spot there, so. GBR look good.
He's just talking, there you go, GBR look good. I agree with you, Pete. They do look like they're sailing the boat well, but they're just talking about that manoeuvre after Mark 1. They were well positioned at Mark 1, again, on paper, but strategically they were struggling. So when they came to do their first jibe, their first turn after Mark 1, they were way out of position, and they went from about 4th all the way back to 10th. They were just in no wind, in a vacuum behind the whole fleet.
Switzerland and Sebastian Schneider, they'll come through in 10th place. Germany still out on the course with some problems. So Germany, presented by Deutsche Bank, will have their crew come on board and see if they can get their situation dialed away and get ready for race number 3. Well, a lot to unpack as well on race number 2, Emily.
And what a start that was for the US team. Now, they own that bottom third of the line with Brazil being slightly late, which meant they were able to hit the line at 70 kilometers an hour and just slingshot themselves towards Mark 1. Now, Australia, surprisingly, didn't have the best start. They were doing half that boat speed, but they accelerated really quickly to be able to get to Mark 1 in 2nd as well, which really played to their advantage, because while the US looked absolutely brilliant for the first half of that race, they made a few too many errors that just left that door open for the Australian team to take that win by miles. This is that moment there, that little bow down, filled the boat with water and just so costly. With these new T-Fulls, the teams are doing 60 kilometers an hour upwind. So if you touch down in a maneuver, you are doing half of that boat speed. 97% fly time for the Australians there. So no wonder they took that race win.
97%, not too bad. We saw Spain do something along that same lines in race number 1. Let's crunch some numbers, Emily, because there's a lot to digest out of the Oracle Cloud.
And here those numbers are for you. We can see there, Australia, that 97% fly time. But most importantly, look at that distance sailed by the Australians, 7.9 kilometers, compared to the Brits, who sailed a much faster average boat speed, like 0.7 kilometers further distance. So we can see the different modes that these teams are sailing to try and stay in the best pressure, but keep the boats on the foils as much as possible.
And we have now a chance to go down on the water and talk with the driver for Australia, the three-time champions, and Tom Slingsby. Tom, great race for you guys so far today. Consistency, top 5 in race number 1. You win race number 2. What is the biggest difference out there, and how big of a difference are those T-foils making?
Guys, can you hear me there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a unbelievably tight, tricky racetrack, and so just keeping your nose clean and not having any majors is pretty important. You got to avoid the bunches, because you get caught in the bunch, everyone slows each other up.
All right, Tom, we appreciate the time. Good luck on race number 3. So the Australians go 5th in race 1. They go number 1 in race number 2, and they will be ready to go on race 3 as we're scheduled for 4 races today on the first day of this in Auckland. Let's take a look at the results thus far. Remember, it's 10 points for a win, so Emirates GBR leads the way with 19. Then you have Australia and Red Bull Italy sitting on 16 points, even as well with Spain. Remember, you want to be top 3 on Sunday on the last race to get into that big grand final. What a day to be racing here in Auckland. The very first time they have made their way into this beautiful place. Now, back at our last event in Dubai, an exciting women's performance pathway was supported by DP World, SailGP's new official logistic partner. Following New Zealand's victory, the F50s were relaunched to help achieve greater gender equality in the league.
And this is the first ever, training camp of a couple of days.
And it's pretty emotional. So we set an ambition next 3 to 5 years to have 2 female athletes on the boat. I suppose DP World, as soon as they came on board, believed in us, and they said, let's do it. Let's do the first ever performance camp here in Dubai.
For us to have partners like DP World coming in who want to support the women's performance program is just massive for us. I guess we're 3 years into the women's performance program, and this is the first ever, training camp of a couple of days where we've all been able to get on the boat and get real time on the water. And it's just been the most amazing environment for everyone to jump on the F50s and actually have a real go at the different roles on board the boat. So, the driving, the wing trimmer, the flight controller, the grinders, everyone getting stuck in, and lots of questions, lots of answers, and just learning together.
All the girls got a lot better during the camp. So you can see they will have a much better chance at entering a specific role on the boat with a better understanding. So whenever roles need to be filled in these boats and in the league, I think it's more likely that girls can be called to go on one of those roles.
DP World from day one said we care about gender equality, we care about the oceans. So I think the future is very bright. We'll do more training camps, we'll have female athletes on the boat, and that will change the face of sailing.
It's really important that we support, closing that gender gap in all sports, not just sailing. We're delighted that we can be part of that. It's, again, a really important part of our own internal agenda, and we hope to see the fruits of our labour in years to come.
And we now get set for race number 3. This is the pre-start dance. All the boats have to get in that box, all 11 of them, as we go under 90 seconds to go. Stevie, one boat I do not see out there right now, though, is Germany, presented by Deutsche Bank. Remember, they had issues at the end of race number 2.
Yeah, left-hand side of our screen, there they are, still on the chase boat, and I know the shore crew's working hard, hoping to get them back for race 4, but they won't be taking part in this 3rd race, unfortunately. A few hydraulic issues on board the boat, so that'll need some careful work done.
Got it, yeah. Lots of time, yeah. I'm going down.
And the US SailGP team also reported some issues on their boat, but they are there, center of your screen, ready to participate, looking to bounce back in a big-time way. The Americans had a great race, too, until their incident. They've got a 7 and a 6 on their table, with 2 races still to go today.
Yeah, they did, started well. I think they found space on that start line, so it's can we see space on this start line? It's very clustered at that bottom end of the line. Italy and Brazil nicely positioned right now.
Under 30 seconds to go before the start of race number 3. We're scheduled for 4 here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix in Auckland.
Well, Spain there making a move on Australia and the United States. They're going to struggle to find it. The pole predictor has Denmark in the optimum position. Right now it goes back to Peter Burling's New Zealand boat out the back of the fleet. He's going to be fast from there, but will he find a gap? He's up and foiling. All about acceleration from here. I like Great Britain's position in the middle of the line, but can they get it up and running? Italy foiling through. Start line goes. Switzerland fire like a bullet from a gun at the top end of the line. What acceleration from Seb Schneider. Can he get over the top? He's going to need to be fast. Spain and Australia on the inside. I think Schneider will lead, but in the pack, it's going to be really tight at Mark 1.
So here we go, mark number 1, race number 3, one more race after this one, and it is Sebastian Schneider and the Swiss out in front. They get the whole shot, and they need a win in a big-time way after finishing 11th and 10th in the previous 2 races.
Nice rounding there by the Australians as well in second on the inside here. You can see as soon as you're back in the pack, you're very compromised. New Zealand and United States again out of position after that start, and in a big gust of wind, Switzerland have gone away. Cool there from Maud to AO saying, let's keep it simple. That's easier said than done, but I love the idea. That's what you've got to try and do from here. Minimise manoeuvres, minimise mistakes. Campbell James there asking Cooper Dressler to go hard on the handles to help him pull that big wing sail in, and Switzerland are well set up for gate 2, anticipating a left turn here. This course is a little bit shorter this time, Todd.
This is the umpires. Penalty New Zealand relative GBR, not giving room at the boundary.
Hometown fans aren't going to want to hear that. And a little bit of a surprise here as the Swiss opt for the right-hand side at the DP World Gate, gate number 2.
Yeah, well, I can't see a lot of wind out of that left turn right now, so that could be a good call, but potentially just a slightly light wind moment on the whole race course. Switzerland have got a lot of space away from the fleet, and New Zealand and Great Britain, they're out the back. Pressure is already on this Kiwi crew.
Stevie, is that a situation where possibly the coaches who are on shore could have told the Swiss crew, hey, you might want to opt for the right-hand side, we're seeing more pressure?
Well, certainly there's the option for the coaches to talk, so that's definitely a thing. I mean, I don't know how they work it on their team in particular. I think probably easier for the sailors to actually see exactly what's happening on the water. But yeah, maybe they thought we won't make it to that left turn easily. Let's keep the boat going fast, do the extra manoeuvre, and we'll figure things out from there.
Race 3, leg 3 of 7 in this one. Switzerland out in front. Winners of race number 2, Australia sit in second. Nice showing so far for North Star Canada. They're in third, and Rockwell Denmark in fourth, just ahead of Spain in fifth.
Yeah, really, really tight here. We can see that's tight back in between Italy and Brazil, bottom right-hand corner of our screen on the boundary there. But Switzerland, well, that right turn that they chose was very good here. We're going to look back on board as we see Great Britain and New Zealand. They're sailing towards the boundary. As soon as they enter that boundary, Great Britain are entitled to room. And there we go. Great Britain turns, New Zealand slow to react. And that's what the umpires deemed was enough to be called a professional foul. Penalty New Zealand, costly. Have to drop back behind Great Britain. Yeah, just a simple boundary penalty there. A little bit too aggressive from Pete Burling in that moment. And he's sat back in 10th right now. He's got to find his way through the fleet because Australia, well, they're in second, but they were first in the race before. Switzerland, they've had 2 poor races. They've been right at the back for 2 races in a row, but he's showing how they do when they get a little bit of space. Doing a nice job. Good breeze on the racetrack, but they've got an extra manoeuvre to do.
Sebastian Schneider there at the wheel for the Swiss as they approach gate number 3. What a beautiful backdrop as the city in the background here in Auckland as SailGP comes to this part of New Zealand for the very first time.
Yeah, that's some backdrop, isn't it? They're right in the city front there, and we can see they're turning away in a big patch of breeze. There's dark water where Switzerland are. I like where they're going for wind right now. We can see there Australia have been overtaken by Canada. Spain have got the right of way, but I think Australia will get past them just about. So it's been a gain to that Auckland shoreline, and right now, Slingsby's seen that. He's going back to try and get some of the goodies.
So the Swiss and the Aussies opt for the left-hand side as they head back down. You see Spain and North Star Canada, they go to the other side. Looks like Taylor Canfield and the US SailGP team will go that side as well.
Coming down, 2, 1, coming
Oh, Robert Denmark, he slings it in there. What a manoeuvre for the Danish. Oh, they've been in the middle of the pack all day, the Danes. They'll be looking for a good one, but that little place gained back there could prove really important as we see Great Britain, Brazil, New Zealand bringing up the back of the fleet. They'll be hoping to get back in the race. Wind well rotated to the left here. Straight down the course for Canada, Spain at the moment, and they're potentially putting an overtake on the Aussies.
Look at the speed. Switzerland going 74 kilometers an hour. Canada at just dipping under 60. And here comes Spain. Their speed's still climbing, so they look good. Quick reminder, Germany had a boat issue after race number 2. They aren't able to go in this one. And of course, France's boat not ready in time because of some issues on the main sail.
Australia coming in with the right of way over Canada and Spain here. Spain have got a decision to make. What's Diego going to do? He decides to dip behind and take the left turn.
Coming up.
It's really tight in the pack. You see at 70 kilometers an hour. There's only 22 kilometers an hour of wind as we look on the left-hand side leaderboard there. 3 times the wind speed these boats are doing. That's some solid efficiency.
And Stevie, now if you're Brazil, New Zealand, Great Britain, Italy, Denmark, even the USA, you've got to find a way now to start chipping away and picking up 1 or 2 places.
You absolutely have, and I mean that's historically what New Zealand has been their bread and butter, really, that ability to overtake. I think the United States are doing a pretty good job of that actually out there today. We're going to come on board our Oracle Cloud Insights to have a look at the wind speed here, and we can see it's very different across the course. 30 kilometers an hour on Switzerland. Canada sat in nearly 10 kilometers an hour left wind. You've got to try and find those gusts, and at the moment sailing nearly straight up the ladder line. Switzerland, they're also in a left shift. If you can be in wind and sailing less distance, wow, you are absolutely making all the gains. Big gain to Australia, up to 2nd versus Canada.
So Switzerland has a 200-meter lead over Australia. Canada has dropped back to 3rd, then Spain in 4th. Good time as they approach gate number 5 to check in with Lisa Darmana down on the water. Lisa, how have the conditions changed, if any, since our very first race of the day?
Todd, they have picked up a lot down here, so the top end is much higher, so that's why we're seeing those huge accelerations, but it is so gusty, and in those lulls, that is really on the edge of these high-speed T-foils, so it is a really difficult game out here. Also, with such a short race course, it means there's much more dirty air because there's wind wash everywhere across this whole course, so really, really tough out here.
And Lisa, while we've got your attention, they come close to you. Are you seeing a different performance from these boats now with those T-foils? Is it really noticeable?
It is noticeable. I think the manoeuvres are the obvious one. Some people are sticking the landing, some are not. I think today it's fairly flat water, so majority of the teams are doing a really good job, but you can see that they're not quite sure how the boat is going to behave at all times. So it's a difficult balance, but with the flat water, they've got a little bit more time to be able to get the boat locked in, but really impressive by the Swiss team right now. They just had a little stumble, but they've come good.
Oh, and a big gain for New Zealand on that upwind leg. They found that gust of wind, big shift towards the left. New Zealand have found it. Burling spotted it. Big gain for him and Liv Mackay in the strategy department there. They're up to 6th. They could probably do with another couple of gains on this downwind leg if they can. And another little error from the United States. Splash down. Could lose a couple of places here. Costly little mistake. They've been sailing so well. And Switzerland, what a performance.
And the Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Swiss. Congratulations to Sebastian Schneider and his crew.
Well, it was a good performance. Australia 2nd, though. The consistency. Slingsby starting to wind it up.
So a 5, a 1, and a 2 on the day for the Aussies. Looks like Canada will come in and hold on to 3rd after their 7th performance in the last race.
Another good one for Canada there. And Rottwell, Denmark and Spain are going to be tight here. North Star Canada going to get a good 3rd place finish as they come across the line there. And their hometown fans, where they're not fully revved up just yet. Look at this different strategy change here by Nikolai Sehested. Who's going to dip for the line first? Spain get it, but it was so tight. 1 second in it on the line. Nice bit of strategy from Sehested there as we see New Zealand. They're in 6th place.
Well, they did salvage, Stevie, but now they're dealing with a 4th, an 8th, and a 6th.
Yeah, good point save there, Burling said, and that's exactly what that was. He's potentially saved it. They're still struggling. but you've got to fight. Some days it doesn't go your way, and you've got to keep scrapping. And out the back, we can see it's going to be a 7th for Red Bull Italy. Mubadala Brazil come home in 8th. Decent result for those two boats, but Great Britain, well, Dylan Fletcher and that British team looked like they were absolutely unassailable in the first 2 races, but a 9th place finish for them no good. And mistakes are hurting the United States SailGP team right now.
And the USA, after having an incident there in the middle, actually the penultimate leg, they dropped back. They had gotten up to 6th place, Stevie. They're going to finish in 10th, and that's going to be a tough one as the Americans now sit with a report card of 7th, a 6th, and a 10th.
Yeah, I mean, they've sailed well. I mean, another great start there for Canfield, really positioned themselves well. They're just making some little mistakes on their manoeuvres. Like we said, I mean, it goes down like a bit of a broken, boring record there. Those Emirates winning moments that we got for Switzerland in that one, they come from doing the simple things well, and that's just what's letting the US down at the moment.
Well, let's take a look at some highlights at race number 3 with 1 race to go, Emily. No better place to start than the start.
And the start was the first little hint that conditions out there are changing. Here, 3 seconds to go, 2, 1, gun. All the boats are about 20 meters behind the line. Now, Switzerland did have a good start, but in general, all of them sitting a little bit further back, showing just how much more difficult it's getting out there. It's a bit gustier, harder to predict. And because of that, it made life so difficult in that pack, which was great news for Switzerland, who just continued to extend their lead the whole way round the course. While those in the middle, it was like snakes and ladders out there. We saw a lot of crosses, some really costly moments as well for a lot of teams, where just one little touchdown was so critical, really hard to get back up on the foils quickly when there is all of that turbulence from the other boats around you. But also plenty of opportunities. We saw some really strong breeze down that Auckland shoreline.
Yeah. How about the Swiss, though, Emily? I mean, despite the introduction of the T-foils and having 11 boats on this tight course, they are doing a masterful job. And once again, we're talking about flight times. I mean, the gusting winds have been up there. Lisa Darmanin reported it, but the flight times do not seem to be having a problem at all.
No, not at all. For the US team, it was 63%. Not their best of the day, but mastering these conditions of trying to get on the foils.
So 3 races down, 1 more race to go here in Auckland, and here are the standings. Australia, Stevie mentioned, showing their consistency as they go 5, 1, and 2. Then 2 points back are Spain going 2, 4, and 4. Emirates GBR looking good in 21 points, 1 point clear of Red Bull Italy, who's having by far their best of the 2 races they've been since they've been in the league. Then you've got Rockwell, Denmark, New Zealand, Canada, Switzerland, the USA dropping back, and then Mubadala Brazil and Germany, presented by Deutsche Bank, who was unable to race in race number 3. Now able to go down on the water and talk with their driver, Sebastian Schneider. Sebastian, great job for you guys. You go back to that start and no one could touch your speed. Can we talk about the T-foils, and can we talk about how great your crew performed today in that 3rd race?
Yeah, T-foils are good fun, especially when the breeze is up like now. We're going really fast, but yeah, we're still learning. Everybody's still learning, so it's really fine tunings, and we did a good job in that 3rd race. When we were in front, it was also a little bit easier, but yeah, we need to improve a bit when we're in the pack.
And Seb, it's pretty gusty out there. It looks hard to judge the start. Is that because of the new foils, or is that just specific to these conditions?
Honestly, I think it's more the conditions. It's really hard to see the gusts. They're not really coming down the hill sometimes, but yeah, we did a great job in that last start. We came from the back with speed, and it worked pretty well.
Seb, appreciate your time. Good luck to you guys in the final race of the day. That's Switzerland and their driver, Sebastian Schneider. They win race number 3 ahead of Australia and Canada. Well, SailGP is constantly looking to maximize the F-50's capabilities out on the water, and the latest innovation comes in the form of the much anticipated and the often discussed T-foils.
I think the great thing with SailGP is the class keeps evolving. Here we are, T-foil's first event in Auckland. The T-foil is a lot more efficient in the water. We went from carbon to titanium, so that means we can go for a thinner chord and shape. We can cavitate later, so we can push the speeds higher than 100 kilometers per hour.
7, 8. Oh, wow. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, well, smashed it.
Nice.
I believe the Canadians will have a slight advantage from doing more testing, but to be honest, from looking at the data, there hasn't been a huge gap between them and the other teams.
We've seen out here in the last couple of days in Auckland that we're able to push them really downrange and still put a really good product on the water.
The boat feels very different. From the L-foils to the T-foils, the first couple of minutes were very strange. Somehow the boat feels bigger. You really feel the power in the boat. It accelerates much quicker.
Oh, just take a picture of that. Come on, look at your wing.
And the maneuvers are very different. So you can see all the teams are trying different things at the moment. It's really interesting to look at the data overnight.
We have an added feature in them now with adjustable cant. So we can basically adjust how far under the boat the dagger board is or how far outboard it is.
As you can see here, we've got a ram, an hydraulic ram, that this is how we move the board in and out. And we've got another one to move the board back and forth. And then we've got also the board up and down. So here I have 2 foot pedals. One is for dagger board down and the other one for dagger board up. Simply have to touch this one time and the board will start dropping.
It's amazing what a little wind will do on these F50s.
So it's one parameter in addition that makes the boat a bit more complex to sail. I think it's not harder, but it just adds variability, and I think the boat has more control, but you'll see more differences in modes between the team. We immediately saw this as an opportunity because all the teams will have the same amount of time on the T-foils.
It'll level the playing field while we're all in the learning stages, but there's still plenty of room for variability in it that's going to make for entertaining racing.
Opportunity for the fans to get a beverage and get back to their seat. The next race starts in just over 8 minutes here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. These are the Rolex SailGP Championships on a picture-perfect day in New Zealand. That SailGP has taken the coaches off the water and put them in the Grand Sage Coaches Central, and we're now lucky enough to go on board the coaching area into the New Zealand camp. We've got Josh Jr. and Sam Meach. Josh, how is it going for your team today? Pete's a master of finding points when they don't seem to be there. What is your advice to them on race number 4?
Yeah, I think we've managed to get a few points back today, which has been really nice, and limit the damage. But moving forward, you know, it's really about the start. We need to get off that line cleanly, and from there I'm sure the guys will sail really well and get a win. So we'll just try and do that in the last race and finish on a high today.
And Josh, obviously, you know, these new foils are a thing. Is that sort of something that gives the other teams a bit of an advantage to catch you up, or do you think something that you've got the knowledge in the team to still keep striding ahead of everyone else?
Yeah, you know, it's a new thing for the class, and everyone's having to learn them at the same time. I think if we see everyone making mistakes and everyone learning really quickly as well. So, but to be honest, today the wind is just shifting all over the place, and you've got to get off that start line and get in phase, and that's what we're going to do in this last one, and go out there and hopefully win it.
Nice, and if you could, just a quick question to Sam. I know he's working hard over there. Maybe you could put the microphone in front of his mouth. But Sam, what does it mean to race in front of your home fans?
Oh, it's so special, you know, like for me, I've only done this once before, and to be part of a team racing in front of, racing in Auckland is just so special.
Sam Meach, Josh Jr., Team New Zealand in the Black Foils. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your insight as we are able to take you inside Coaching Central here in beautiful Auckland. Capacity crowd today. It is sold out, no tickets to be had, and they're all hoping that the Black Foils can close things out on the 4th and final race here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland with a win. The Kiwis need one in a big-time way. Can they get it after this?
Flying carbon machines driven by the world's best. Yes, powered by nature, powered by nature. We are SailGP.
Well, one more race to go on day 1 of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland, and for Team New Zealand, performing well in front of their home fans is a major goal. But taking care of their home water is part of their culture. Across the 2025 season, SailGP and Emirates have partnered on Ocean Impact Projects, a partnership to leave a tangible, measurable, and positive impact on ocean health. The first project of 2025 is the kelp forest restoration on the Noises Islands in Auckland, New Zealand.
It's really epic to be out here at the Noises, Otata Island. Really cool group of people we've brought together here.
The rocky reef extends all the way through to the ahas, which are 3 kilometres or so out that way.
Here we'll be waiting and hoping that it gets some new kelp on the tide.
Sport has this real platform to connect people to issues.
Our family have been the custodians of the Noises group of islands for the last 90 years. The marine environment, all we have seen through our lifetimes is lost.
His overfishing of big snapper and big crayfish over time has meant a lot of the reefs have actually changed to catamarans. So a lot of the reef is now grazed by sea urchins, or kinna we call them in New Zealand. Historically these reefs were covered in kelp forests. Kelp forests are so important. They provide habitat and food for lots of species. It's like our trees on the land. And they're also important in fixing carbon. It's not just about removing sea urchins, it's about restoring the whole ecosystem.
Well, Emirates has got behind the impact projects around the globe, so yeah, it's amazing to have them partnering with the work going on out here today.
This funding will allow us to continue the research, but what we're doing is also carrying out active removal of sea urchins from areas to investigate how quickly the kelp can recover once you've taken the sea urchins out.
It's really about trying to educate people of what the issues actually are out here.
We can accurately look at whether there's differences on the reef.
Because we've let the environment get so depleted, without a bit of a helping hand to just kickstart it, we may be waiting a very long time. I'm not that sure that we have a very long time to wait.
It's such an incredible side of SailGP that is really important there. So to have that kind of support come through Emirates, come from SailGP is amazing.
When you bring a collective group of people together, all striving for the same thing like we have today, it's it does give you, I guess those moments feel proud or inspired about making real change.
Good to see the Black Boys lending a helping hand on their home waters, and they could use a hand here in this final race. Can they get the win in race number 4 and send the fans home happy? Remember, another day and more racing tomorrow before the grand final, last race. And that'll be only the top 3 teams on points. Right now, it would be Australia, Spain, and Emirates GBR with the Kiwis missing out. And there you see it, separated by just 1 point. Red Bull Italy, what a story that would be if the new team this season were able to crack into that top 3 and make a grand final. Rockwell, Denmark, New Zealand, Canada still there, but man, these teams have a lot of work to do, and this 4th race, Stevie, is going to be massive to send them in to the next day with a lot of momentum, feeling good about what they did today.
Yeah, halfway stage, so this is an absolutely pivotal race.
So as the teams get themselves into position for the 4th and final race, earlier, just moments ago, Lisa Darmanin able to catch up with Pete Burling and the Black Foils.
Pete, it's pretty challenging out here. Obviously the wind is increasing now. Why is this race course so difficult?
Yeah, it's been pretty challenging. Just big puffs down the left out of the Bayswater side, and then also kind of down the harbour. So it kind of feels like it's been finding its feet a little bit, but feels like it's actually settled down a little bit now and built, so hopefully make for a nice last one.
And getting off that start seems like the key. Struggled so far. That slingshot didn't quite work. So what's the strategy for this final one for the fans?
Yeah, I think we overcompensated a bit. We felt like obviously the first one got a bit out of position, but that second one just a little bit stuck in the middle, and didn't quite get him as much breeze as we thought in that last one. A bit frustrating, but the way the guys are sailing is really pleasing. Picking some good shifts with Liv, and looking forward to putting on a good last one.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Peter. Good luck.
Cheers.
That was just moments ago. Lisa Darmanin catching up with the driver of the Black Foils, Pete Burling, as we come up on 2.5 minutes to go before the 4th and final race of the day. And everyone kind of going through their final debrief. Stevie checking the boat, getting the fluids in there. They haven't got to the start box just yet, but there'll be plenty of time. All right. Whose start do you like the best, and who is doing the best job? We'll get to that momentarily. Let's check in down on the water while we have a chance with Lisa Darmanin.
Todd, it has increased overall, as you heard when I was talking with Pete, but it is still pretty difficult out here. Those gusts and lulls are the real test out here, but the good news is that the German team, they are back on the water and they're going to try race this one after some repairs on their boat. So great to see them back on this start line.
No, that's great news. So breaking news, Germany, presented by Deutsche Bank, is back in the mix. So we've got 11 boats out there. Remember, France's boat's still undergoing some repairs. We hope to have them back by Sydney, the next event. And there they are, the Germans, looking for a big performance. Stevie, they had a decent start to the day. They finished in 8th on race number 1, and of course last on race 2. So it's good to see them hopefully getting into this thing and maybe mixing it up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the fans there, look at the number of fans. It looks like a football stadium, doesn't it? It's unbelievable. And they're getting some show put on for them. Breeze is definitely filled in. I can see the patchiness on the water looks a lot less there. I think the British have been starting the most consistently today. Dylan seems to have been finding a little bit of space in the middle of the line, gives you room to accelerate. If you can turn the boat away from the wind, pop the boat on the foils nice and quickly. These new T-foils just want to accelerate, but you need that little bit of space to do that. So can you find space in the last seconds?
USA first into the start box as we go under a minute to go. The 4th and final race of the day here in Auckland at the Rolex SailGP Championship.
Well, there we go. Blue, pole position, suggested place to be. That's the optimum place to start there, is right in the middle to lower half of the line, and we can see the USA are set up well for that, but they're early back. They're there for everyone else to hunt. And here comes the hunter. Burling on board New Zealand is coming in with 35 seconds to go. Expect him to spin the boat fairly soon. Going to try and find a little gap in the middle of the line. He's looking to foil out of here. Great Britain, they're late. Germany late as well. Italy out the back. I think United States and New Zealand well positioned at the moment, but Martini Grail on board Mubadala Brazil. She's moved into a nice position with 17 seconds to go. It's a real tussle at that favoured end of the line, and it's all going to come down to acceleration, but New Zealand, they have the pole predictor on them, and I love their position right now. It's 5 seconds to go to the line. Here he comes, the New Zealand crew winding up. How's your timing, Pete Burling? Perfect out of the middle of the line, and when he needed to deliver, he's delivered. Here they go. Hometown heroes are going to need to be fast to roll over the top of the Swiss and the Australians.
And it's the heavy hitters as they approach mark number 1 in the final race of the day. It's the Kiwis and the Aussies as they reach to see who gets the whole shot, and it will go the way of the black foils.
Oh, the sprint leader, Rolex sprint leader there, Peter Burling and the New Zealand crew. Josh Jr. said we've got to get to Mark 1 in good shape. Well, that's the way to do it, and now they look relaxed.
It's good, I think. Not far, is it? Average phase here, more pressure on boundary. 2, 1, 4 down.
Sailing into a nice patch of breeze here now. Can they stick a nice smooth manoeuvre now that they're out in front? Looks good for me to go straight into a left turn out of this manoeuvre. New Zealand manoeuvre the boat well. All the boats staying on the foils. That little bit more wind making it easier here. USA again, a little slip up in the manoeuvre. Bottom of our screen. They're off the foils. Another error in the manoeuvre there. They're hurting so bad on that US boat in these manoeuvres.
Oh, the Americans were in a top 5 position, and they will drop back to the back of the fleet. And there you see it once again, the heavy hitters going toe-to-toe. It's New Zealand and Australia 1 and 2, Canada in 3rd, with Brazil in 4th. Switzerland, the winners of the last race, they decide for the other side of the course at the DP World Gate.
Oh, look how much that mistake hurts. They're right out the back here. Spain in 9th, Britain in 8th. This is going to tighten up that top of the leaderboard. Australia, first to manoeuvre away out of that side of the course. New Zealand stretching things out. There's a little bit more space on that left turn, and Burling will be trying to use that. Keep the boat fast, try and minimise manoeuvres, but on the bottom of the screen here, Switzerland, they're in one of those left-hand shifts that Peter Burling would talked about, sailing nicely up the ladder line in good breeze, gain for Switzerland, but Australia have the right of way, and Schneider has to yield. I think what's interesting there, you heard Seb asking Morgier, you know, is there anyone else there? It's so hard to see the boats on the other side of the course, and what they'd love to see is our SailGP insights there up in the Oracle cloud, and what they'll see is the breeze is quite even across the course right now, not much in it. Australia potentially making a small gain on New Zealand here.
2, 1, 4 down. And turning.
Kiwis cool and calm as they approach gate number 3. Peter Burling and company desperately in need of a win here. Remember, New Zealand got a 4th in race number 1. They got an 8th in race number 2. And of course, they backed it up in race number 3 with a performance that had them really thinking that they were better than maybe the results showed it, finishing in 6th.
There you go, nice upwind leg there. Really nice upwind leg by the Swiss. Of course, they won race 3. If they could back it up, that would put them right back in the mix after a disappointing start to the day.
Swiss, one of the 5 teams in the league who have yet to win an event. And they look very good right now. After a win, they currently sit in 3rd place. And here's where the traffic jam starts.
Oh, what are Brazil going to do here? They're going to go wide of the mark. They've lost it. Runners have gone on, and they're in the water.
This is the umpires' penalty, Italy relative Canada. Windward boat not keeping clear.
Oh, Brazil have got to go all the way round here. It's going to be a massive loss for Mubadala Brazil. They're going to have to spin right round. They got themselves way out of position there. Marcini Graham had to avoid the mark. They look well positioned, but they still got to go back through that gate. As we can see, Denmark, Rottwell Denmark up to 5th as New Zealand stretch away. Can Burling and Tuke deliver under pressure? Well, it looks like it at the moment. They needed a race to go well in race 4. Well, it can't go a lot better than a 100, 200 metre lead over the Australians.
And it is the black foils with a great speed as they make the pass through the gate, nearly 80 kilometers an hour, with a huge lead now over the Australians, who won race number 2. Nice parity across the board. You've got Great Britain winning race number 1, the Aussies win race number 2, and the Swiss win race number 3. And it looks like the Kiwis may in fact send the fans home happy here on Saturday, Stevie, with a possible win.
Yeah, look at that. It's tight in the pack, Todd, isn't it? But big game for Great Britain, 9th, and they're up to 4th at the moment. They're going to go in and have a little wave to the fans in the shoreline there, see if they can find some more breeze. But Rottwell Denmark split the course with Great Britain. North Star Canada is Spain. They're so tight. Spain are going to be slow out of this mark. Could be advantage Canada.
Yeah, we're good, Spain. No issues, Abby.
Quick moving race here. This is the last race of the day, leg 5 of 7. New Zealand got the whole shot. They have maintained that lead with Australia hot on their heels.
Yeah, massive moment for the British in this race. To go from right at the back of the pack up to 4th would be absolutely huge. Huge race for New Zealand. Well, in Australia, they just look ominously quick at the moment, don't they? They're sailing so well. Coming up to the last downwind leg, Todd, I can't wait to see what this crowd does if the Kiwis can hang on. They're going to blow up if they can deliver on this final race of the day.
And how about that Rolex chasing time right now? It's between Australia and New Zealand. Right now it's saying 21 seconds, the difference between the two, as the Kiwis trying to stay away from Tom Slingsby and the Aussies, and a last second change as they will opt for the left-hand side.
Yeah, couldn't quite make it round that. Trying to keep the boat speed, and it's important with these new foils you stay fast. As soon as you get slow, these foils want to let you go. There's a lot of technology involved there. They're having to play the cant. They can move the foil forward and backwards. They can move it in and out to change the power potential on the boats. Do they use the rudder downforce? So many things for these sailors to think about, and so much for them to learn. But right now, well, New Zealand, they're heading straight down the course. This one looks like it's going to be exciting for those Kiwi fans on the shoreline as the black foils look set to deliver.
Massive crowd, sellout crowd today as SailGP comes to Auckland for the very first time after 5 seasons. And how about the Swiss, Stevie? Sebastian Schneider, they got a taste of the Victory Cup and they like it. They're currently sitting in 3rd, top of the fleet.
Well, I was about to start talking about the pressure that would be on them after the first 2 races. 10th and 11th in the first 2 races. And they're backing that up potentially with a 1 and a 3 right now. So, oh, tight moment there. Slingsby just about keeps clear. Oh, and he's in the water. The Aussies are probably going to save it and hang on for that second. But yeah, delivering. Here come the Kiwis.
And as they make their way around the last turn, it will be the Emirates winning moment going the way of the hometown fans. Give it up for the Black Foils. The Kiwis win race 4.
That's going to look very pretty on the overall standings to pull out that Emirates winning moment at the very end of the day there, Burling. His hand goes up, Tuke's hand goes up, Liv Mackay, she'll be happy, but probably the happiest team of the day is going to be the Aussies, Tom.
What a report card for the Aussies. They go 5th, tough race in race number 1, then they get the win, then they back it up with a 2nd and another 2nd.
Strong day there. It's tight back in the pack here. Schneider and the Swiss, they get third. Emirates Great Britain, well, that could be huge to salvage a fourth in that race there for Emirates Great Britain. Rottwell Denmark, consistent, very, very consistent, but they're going to need to start to sparkle a little bit more if they're going to hope to make Sunday's final.
Denmark and Canada go 5 and 6. And Italy, wow, they've had a strong race as well here at Auckland.
And it's tight on the line. Here come Italy. They're going in at double speed. I think the Italians might sneak the Spanish on the line. Oh, Ruggero Tita. Perfect judgment by Red Bull Italy there. Dives across the line. It was like Usain Bolt giving us a dip finish on the 100 meters there. Spun in front of Diego. And another point game for the Italians.
Germany, after having some mechanical issues and missing a race, they bounced back with a 9th, so good for them. And the USA will finish in 10th with Brazil, who missed that gate up there. Another dip by the Americans.
Oh, it's getting pretty loose out there. It's gusty, it's shifty. Big show for the fans. What a day's racing that was. Brazil, tough race, coming home in last place.
So we now go down on the water, and what a way to finish off the day here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. New Zealand gets the win in race number 4. Pete Burling, Blair Tuke, guys, congratulations. Pete, what was the difference between the first 3 races and the last race?
Yeah, I think it was Mark 1 position made life a lot easier. Obviously, then that last one, the breeze was pretty steady, so it sail around nice and easy from there. But yeah, it's always nice to lead Mark 1 and make life easy to finish out the day.
Pete, just for the fans at home, can you give us an idea how big a change is these T-foils?
It's a huge change, to be honest. Especially today's probably the lighter end of the spectrum. So yeah, definitely it's pretty impressive how far down the range they go. But yeah, a lot to play with, and yeah, Liam and the rest of the crew's been doing awesome jobs. I'm super excited.
Pete, appreciate your time, and what a show you gave the massive crowd here in Auckland. We look forward to seeing you guys race tomorrow. Peter Burling and the Black Foils get the win in race number 4. Let's take a look at the highlights from race 4. Emily, the start again is always key, but this was a great matchup because you've got New Zealand going toe-to-toe with the Aussies.
It certainly was, and the Kiwis stole the show straight from the gun. Look at that space they had around them. They were able to hit the line flying 64 kilometers an hour at the gun. That was 20k an hour faster than the Australian teams there. So no wonder they made it to Mark 1 first. Now, what was really interesting with this race was we had New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland, 1, 2, 3 from Mark 1 all the way to the finish. But the British team, they got to Mark 1 in 9th place, and we see here on that first upwind, this was the start of them sneaking their way up through the pack to eventually take a 4th place finish. A brilliant result for not a great start, but look at the Kiwis fly. They absolutely sent it around the course. 100% fly time for the New Zealand team, finishing in front of the stands and thousands of fans there.
Let's take a look at the standings after 4 races. You want parity? We'll give it to you. 4 races, 4 different winners. Great Britain, Australia, Switzerland, and New Zealand all come away first day race winners. And look how tight it is, all the way down to 6th place. Top 3 will make it on into the big grand final here in Auckland, and it's going to be a big day tomorrow. All right, let's talk about the Rolex Precision Sailors of the Day. A lot of names to pick from. Why are these the winners?
Well, today our top driver went to Martini Grail with a top speed of 87 kilometers an hour of boat speed. Morjayet took strategist with the shortest distance sailed, and it was the pair of Blair Tuke and Leo Takahashi with the top wing trimmer and flight controller.
Well, the Rolex best time start and the high speed of the day. It was a tough day for the Americans, but how about the Black Foils? The Kiwis come out swinging on race number 4, and they salvage it. Fans on their feet again. A sellout crowd. They get it done, and they deliver on the 4th and final race. Now remember, 2 more fleet races tomorrow, and of course, we'll have the final. So we hope you enjoyed it. The DP fastest speed of the day, the DP World fastest speed of the day, 87.69. So that wraps up day number 1 of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland, the Rolex SailGP Championship. On behalf of Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from down under. We'll see you back in Auckland tomorrow. This is the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland.
Wait, look at the fans on the shoreline. We're racing!
Dylan Fletcher and company take the win. Lady Liberty leading the way.
Big gust of wind on board the yacht.
From Slingsby and company get the win here in Auckland.
Switzerland fire like a bullet from a gun.
Congratulations to Sebastian Snyder and his crew.